What is up, everybody? So we played our Quake tournament, and I wanted to make a video to kind of like review one of the matches and just sort of like talk about the performance. I think overall, I felt really happy with the performance. I only had maybe 4 or 5 days of Quake Live practice in total in the last week and a half, given the fact that I have been pretty sick, so I was off for quite a few days, and I was sick during the day that we played. But with that said, given that I think the last time I played a tournament in Duel was in 2020, and that was in Diabotical, so not even the same game. I don't even know when I last played a Quick Life tournament. With all of that in mind, I feel like I played pretty well, and I'm happy with the results, and it gives me some optimism for future performances because I feel like I'm not having to start from like a really shitty level. I feel like I'm in a decent place, and the improvements should be pretty reasonable to make. So let's look at the bracket so we can kind of look at the path that I had during the day. So this is over 40 players in this bracket, and I was definitely the more stacked side of the bracket. Leon was someone that went pretty deep. Yorbars is when actually ended up in the finals and was someone that I thought would be in the finals. Bollens was a player that I felt like could have was a top four player as well in this tournament. Neek, who I played once, I think he's up here. He ended up being in the finals too, and he was the player that I felt like over the last week and a half of people that I've encountered. It was like this guy, this is the strongest guy I've played. So I actually felt like he was a favorite too, and he ended up being in the finals and winning. So spoilers there. So anyway, so right out the gate, I had to play Xander, who's pretty good, and I had to play lights out, and I hit everything and played really well in this first opening game for myself. So I was very happy with that. When I played against Yulbars, the first map was Aerowalk, and it wasn't as close as I feel like it really should have been. I played way too loose and sort of didn't start off with a good level of focus like I did against Sander. Moving into the second map though on Blood Run, I started with like a 7-0 lead in 4 minutes. I played like very very well, and he just forfeited. And then he wanted to change the server on us, so that ended up taking about an hour or so to get the third map played. So I ended up playing the third map against him, and I got into this position where I was so it's like 6.5 minutes or so, and it's quite frustrating because I just didn't realize the position I was in. I'll play it here, and I'll highlight the moment where basically I just managed to just steal away control. I'm a frag down, and we're towards we're getting towards the later stages of the match. I'm picking up the mega here, and there is this moment where I catch him right here. And this is I'd get a lot of damage on him, completely destroy his stack. You can see he doesn't return almost any damage, and he's forced into the weak side of the map here. Now he's screaming. You can't hear this on the VOD, so he must have been like extraordinarily low. And I just get the bloodlust in me, and I'm just like chasing this kill. I have all the item times. I have all of the items kind of spawning on my back here, so I've positioned on everything. If I just don't try to do what I'm doing right now, which like you can see how I'm just committing so hard for the kill and missing that shotgun shot that could have been a kill. If I hit that one. Instead, what happens is I lose like so much of my stack, and as opposed to a situation where he's extraordinarily weak. I would have left him on the weak side of the map. He hasn't got much to pick up. I get another item rotation, and then attack again, and I probably equalize, and then just maintain control and probably win the game from there on. So that was really annoying because like me chasing him like that only really makes sense if I'm in a situation where I am like, let's say, there's a minute left or something, and I'm like a frag or two down. So I just was too over aggressive in that position, which is really unfortunate. So I ended up losing this one, despite it being very close. And again, he went on to go into the finals. So that gave me some confidence that, hey, if I play him again, I'll be in pretty good shape to be able to win that one. I think it's very doable. So he ends up beating Leon, who's pretty good. Leon beat Death Rose, another one of the better players for sure. And then he proceeds to lose against Neek or Nick. Again, I don't know how to say his name. So then looking at the lower bracket, which is where I dropped to, I end up playing Grego, who's someone who played for Cloud9 and like Apex and Overwatch way back when. He's just come back into Quake, and he's new to Quake, so I had a lot of experience advantage against him. So Chenzo was more difficult, and but still managed to just sort of, I would say, like just out fundamentals him. And then we ended up winning that one. And then we get to this final match. This is where I lost. So against Moody. So I didn't really know who Moody was, but it was clear that he was pretty good. So I wanted to look at one of the maps of this series, the one that was pretty good. They were all actually very close. We played Campgrounds, Airwalk, and Blood Run. But I wanted to look at the Airwalk because it was like the most like entertaining game. Let's see. This should be right. Oh no, this is the Blood Run. So the Blood Run's first. This was very close. So I can skip through this one because I don't want to review this one. As the Airwalk's the more fun of the the three games. You can see the scoreline's very close. I had like there's a couple big opportunities to win that one. So let's rewind here into the beginning of this Airwalk. And we can review this one, and as this was the final series, we can kind of close things out a little bit. So at this point of the day as well, I was very tired. I think, again, the combination of being sick as well, I was sort of starting to struggle to like have that level of focus that would allow me to hit, really connect as hard as I was at the beginning of the day with my shots. And so my rail was really off in this game, and Moody, it turned out, I discovered, is very much like a heavy focus on sort of like this defensive railgun style, which is probably the most frustrating style to play against in Quake, I would say. It's just really annoying. It's like, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily super optimal because it requires that you have to hit everything, every single shot, and you often end up giving up some items to do so. But you can really tilt your opponent because it's just so demoralizing to constantly just be in a position to attack, but then just getting railed.
Oh my god.
And so I was really having to battle frustration in this particular match against him. And as you can see, the start isn't particularly good, and I had to definitely really keep myself. There's a couple moments I'm like, okay, I feel my frustration getting to me, and I need to just focus on what I have to do instead of what is frustrating me. And oh yeah, the other thing I didn't mention is that there were DDoSers attacking this tournament, trying to DDoS the servers on every game that was being streamed. So that was another annoying thing to contend with.
That's rubber banding.
So that was another thing that was like would throw you off a bit, and serve to frustrate you. So managing to pick up the Mega here, and again, like the item control's super important. So I think it's a timeout because I was like, okay, maybe we should switch server because it's probably going to get worse.
Some of the shots were delayed.
Because that's what was happening. So I just skip past this timeout because we end up playing on this server. I think it probably would have made sense to switch to another server, but it's, I understand that he didn't want to give up his lead. For the record, someone this happened to me, and I had a lead against somebody else, and I was like, oh, it's fine, we'll switch servers, we'll restart, I don't care. Just for the record. So managed to make the single jump red jump, which is honestly very annoying to make sometimes. And again, like the item control is extremely important here because he's going to be hitting probably more rails than me. And the other thing I tried to do here as well, you can see I waited there. I'm trying to slow the game down a little bit as well because the more kind of openings I show, then again, like the more opportunities that he's going to have to kind of connect rails. And one quick detail there is, in fact, I'm going to go back here because it's an important point, and this can be I think a common and basic mistake that gets made sometimes in Duel, is that the Mega's coming up next, and I have the time, like I said, and it's very critical that I continue to pick them up. So I slow down here as well because I'm thinking like I don't want to take damage because I have like a decent stack, and I want to be able to, if I'm going to take damage, make sure that it counts towards picking up the Mega. Because if I take damage like let's say I take damage like right here, there's still like a few seconds before Mega, and I'm behind a choke point. So suddenly he could get position on that item. So I need to just prioritize being able to get position on the item. So I managed to just hit that rail and then drop onto the Mega. And with a good rocket, I'm able to finish him off. So I'm able to continue that Mega control, and that's a huge pickup. that gives me kind of like position on the map now. And now coming up these stairs, it's like one of those moves where I kind of have to do it because this red is spawning. And I just have to try to hit good LG, because if I don't, then essentially what happens is I'm going to be forced to just wait around. Like, I would be forced to wait around whilst he's standing up there. If I'm not, going to attack him into him, because he's in this position where with the elevation of the stairs, he's going to have really, really high LG percentage. This is just how that fight works. So you have to either, as I mentioned, attack into it, and if you don't, then and you just wait to try to like punish and pick out the red, he's not going to go and do that. So if he does that, it's a huge mistake. So if he's not going to go do that, you're in this stalemate then where you're both waiting, and whilst you're both waiting, all the items on the map are kind of coming up behind you, and you don't want that to be the case, because you want to be able to secure, like, have the rotation of items. You don't want everything to just be up, because at that point you're throwing caution to the wind, and if there's a fight and one of you dies, one of you could gamble, spawn all of the items, or it could be the case that eventually Mega will come up, and when Mega comes up, you're going to have to go get that, and then he can go and get the red and then drop off of the red, and now he's got 100, and he can fight you. So here the tricky bit is that, very unfortunate not to get railed there, and not unfortunate that he didn't try to punish that at 25. He may not have realized how low I was, but again, like, you can see that it's about trying to get the stag so that you can fight for this next Mega. But unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to actually kind of get my health up in time to be able to have a good position to fight for that. So it ends up being the case that the tables turn a little bit, and now he's kind of in control, hits that long range rail, and now I'm in a really bad spot where I can't just like not try to fight, because there's another maybe 15 seconds or 10-15 seconds before some of these big items come up. So I want to try to do some damage, die off the respawn, have the option to apply some pressure and do more damage. And you can see that's what happens. He ends up trying to go for the 25s around the red, and because I spawn in that area right before all the items are up, I'm able to fight and actually get a kill. So these timings of when the fights are happening around the item rotations are really important. And he's done some good damage there, just using his rockets in good positions. It's about 10-15 seconds to the Mega. I get, I think, some good damage, which he recovers with that. There's 25s. He's waiting for the red. He's able to get it, and again, like, I'm not able to zone him away from the Mega right now, which is a big problem. But I feel like he made a mistake there, not just going for the Mega, but I think he's not timing it very effectively, and I think that's part of the reason why he's not just getting the Mega there, because I think he's in a position to do so. So fortunately for me, because I've been taking all the Megas so far, pretty much, it seems to be the case that he's not a player that's really prioritizing that, always having that timing in his head as much as maybe some others would. I would argue that it's like, in terms of the dual fundamentals, you need to always have the Mega in your head, always. It's a hugely important item. And my rockets are just not good enough there, and I had a good like ambush on him. I'm fortunate in that I get the pickup on the Mega, but the thing is, you can see it's almost more beneficial for him, because like the style of play, like I mentioned, he likes is picking up that rail and being able to kind of just rail. And so he hits that rail, he falls off onto the red, and so he's in like a good spot again, where he's, I think, in the more comfortable position for his style of play. So I kind of work my way around to getting position on this red, and I'm just like going to go for it, even though I'm a little bit early. And he falls back, and I don't think realized that it wasn't actually up at that timing. And once again, I'm able to get towards the Mega in time and steal it away. So even though I take a bunch of damage, as long as I'm able to do a little bit of damage now, I'll be in maybe a decent spot. And I missed my jump there, so it's kind of dangerous, but it allows me to play close with the rockets. And again, just some of these rocket fights haven't gone the best for me, but the ones that have gone decently for me are kind of keeping me in it, even though I'm kind of still trailing a little bit. And once again, you see this idea that the damage is being put on him in a timing where he can't get to the red yet. He's in a spot where he has to kind of try to get to something, and it gives me this little window of time where I can maybe get a kill. And once again, here are these defensive rails I'm talking about. He's not hitting them as hard as he was in the Blood Run game. in the Blood Run game, it was like super close, and he hit 75% rail, and he hit like 20 rails or something like that. Maybe I think it was 20. It was like some super high amount of rails that he connected, and also he was hitting loads of direct rockets, so his damage output was unbelievable, and still the game was very close. So I felt like I would probably have won that game like 99 times out of 100, because I don't think he's hitting that hard, like all the time. But you can see how annoying it is to be like getting railed and railed and railed. So even though I'm getting all these items, he's connecting all these rails, and that was a really nice LG. That was extremely important, because we've got 3 minutes left now, and it's still like a 3 frag difference. And I always feel like I'm playing within an inch of my life because of like that, because of just getting hit with so many rails. And another one, you can see that I paused for a second there. I'm like, for fuck's sake, you know, this guy is just railing me like crazy. And I think this is a really big moment. That's a huge moment for me that allows me to take the mega again, and I get just enough position and time to get a very favorable fight here on that red. And now it's about trying to, again, like it's you can't really deny the rail on this map. It's very hard to do that. You have to have like insane control, and the spawn fragging has to kind of go the right way. But I'm just trying to keep the pressure on here, because I know that he's not really got anything, and I'm using the LG because the LG creates a lot of pressure. Because if he misses the shot, he's kind of fucked. But he does manage to get another 2 rail connections before he dies there. So with these like last 2 rail connections, he's kind of keeping himself in it. And that direct rocket, these are the kinds of rockets he was hitting on that Blood Run like constantly. And it's very irritating, because they're very hard to hit. So, you know, props to him. But it's like, because they're hard to hit, you're like, well, there's low percentage that that's ever happening. And he gets them when he needs them. So again, just keeping me at bay with these rails. Staying focused though, and I get a good lick of damage there on him. So 2 frags behind. He's got the mega up in front of him, and I hit like, that's insane. So I get you know, a bit of luck going my way there, and I try to keep the pressure on. I take the rail, knowing that he spawns the weak side, but I have to pick up items. I have to get the health and armor. And this is a really good read. This just came to me. I remember this just came to me. I'm like, there's a minute left. He shouldn't be playing this passive with this much time and only 1 frag. He should really try to keep the pressure on, but he's giving me a bit too much respect. And I recognized here when I saw that, because if we look at what happens here, this is when I get the kill. He has not, like, I just picked up the rail. I'm like, where is he off the spawn? When I pick this up, the fact that I see no trace of him here and that rail is still up, that means that he hasn't picked up the rail yet. And that means that he's still on the weak side of the map somewhere. And if he hasn't picked up the rail yet, then odds are that he's probably going to be like hiding around the arches, like up towards this area behind this big wall here somewhere, most likely. So if that's the case, you know, I rocket jump up to try to cut off for the rail. I don't see him here. So because there's less than a minute left, I'm thinking, well, there's a very strong possibility that he's playing the teleporter game, where he's just going to stand by the teleporter, wait to see me, and then go through the TP. This is like a common way that people will play like Blood Run, where you're trying to like not take damage. You're just trying to like see where someone is and then get away. So the fact that like I just threw that rocket without even kind of registering he was there, because that was the play I was expecting. And another rocket jump back up, and I managed to catch him with a good rocket. And then now he's kind of fucked because, well, in a manner of speaking. So it's 12-12, 40 seconds left. My stack size is not really that much bigger than his off of the spawn. And so the jumping rail here is nice, because sometimes players will not expect this angle, because, you know, you could, but with jumping at the apex you jump, you can kind of, you know, just see them coming around the corner. But you have to be doing this jump to do that. Otherwise, you'd have to be further up the stairs. So they would not see you further up the stairs. So they would think, oh, it's safe to come down here. But then you catch them like that. But he's aware of that angle. I go up with the LG, I challenge anyway, and I get the kill. And so now I'm actually ahead of Frag, and off the rip he's going to be on the red again off the spawn. So now I'm like in a really good spot with 20 seconds left and a 2 frag lead right at the end. And I'm just like, okay, I just have to not take damage here. And so now I'm playing around this TP and trying to just basically evade him, because I know no matter what, even if I die, I can just delay my spawn at least and buy another 5 seconds. So I managed to avoid him and just barely steal this game away.
Fucking hell, dude.
And my just like going back to like, you can see, okay, let's look at the stats first of all. You can see that he out damaged me massively. Secondly, you can see I hit like very little. He hit 3 times the amount of rail shots as I did, and you know, obviously hitting a higher percentage, 45% against 27%. But you can see that the mega pickups are really where I stood out here against him. That's what really kept me alive in this game. And so it was a really good match, and it was and the final map was not, I think, quite as exciting. This was probably one of the most exciting games I played in the tournament. I think the Yulbar's one on Blood Run was fun because I just destroyed the fuck out of him. I hit like so many insane shots. But this was a cool game where I was like very challenged by my opponent's style. I had to, you know, use the fundamentals. I had to make some good reads. I had to hit some good rockets. I had to have like good LG. LG was really good for me. And we ended up, I felt like coming away from this tournament, you know, feeling like pretty good. Like, again, got pretty deep in the tournament. You know, lost out in the loser round 6, but again, I had a super close game against someone that made the finals. And so overall, pretty happy with how it all went. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe for more Quake content. There's going to be more of all sorts of stuff, you know, stuff to do with aiming guides. I'm going to do more reviews for hardware. We have a mouse pad video that's going to come up, which is, I don't think it's ever been done before. The idea that I'm doing, I'm going to bring in sort of like the aim theory, as well, and sort of like theory around sensitivity and like the different games that you play and how that all of that interacts, and then also how all of that interacts with mouse pad friction, so that you can kind of figure out what kind of type of friction should you be going for with your next pad that will actually help you with the areas you struggle with in terms of your aiming in the game. So looking forward to that. I'm not sure how soon that will come out, because I will be going to an event to actually do some talent work. The talent work is extraordinarily dry at the moment for me. I've got almost no bookings, sadly, and I have a lot to say about one of the reasons as to why, because I feel like I got pretty fucked over. But either way, I will be at I don't know if it's even been announced yet, so I'm not sure if I can talk about it, but I'll be at an event over the next week. But other than that, I'll be trying to stream whilst I'm at that event. I don't know if I'll be able to make YouTube content, but I'll try to stream from my laptop, see if it works. But thank you everybody for watching. I hope this was fun, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.